Welcome to Books to Awaken Your Soul. This is a 15-minute power summary of Unlocking the Zohar, written by Michael Laitman in 2011. Unlocking the Zohar by Michael Laitman sets out to unravel the secrets of the Book of Zohar, a seminal work in the tradition of Kabbalah. The book seeks to make this ancient wisdom accessible to a contemporary audience, explaining its profound teachings in a clear and engaging manner. Chapter 1. Time to Act establishes the urgency and relevance of Kabbalah in today's world. Laitman argues that humanity is at a crossroads, facing a spiritual crisis fueled by growing egoism and increasing interdependence. He paints a picture of a world consumed by materialistic pursuits, where the chase for pleasure leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. The chapter underscores the dangers of continuing on this path, warning of the social and ecological problems that will inevitably arise if we fail to change. Laitman argues that the wisdom of Kabbalah, and particularly the Book of Zohar, offers a solution to this crisis. He explains that Kabbalah reveals a higher dimension of reality, one that is governed by forces of love and giving that operate beyond our limited perception. He delves into the history of Kabbalah, tracing its origins back to Abraham, the first Kabbalist who discovered this higher reality. Laitman explains that Abraham found that at the end of our material evolution begins a spiritual one, driven by a desire to understand the purpose of life, a desire Kabbalah refers to as the point in the heart. The chapter then moves to the story of the Tower of Babel, a biblical allegory for the first emergence of intense egoism in human society. Laitman uses this story to illustrate the consequences of unchecked ego and the need for a correction method, which Kabbalah offers. He presents two possible paths for human evolution: a negative path of suffering, where we are forced to change through pain and hardship, and a positive path of discovering the good and being drawn towards it. Laitman argues that Kabbalah allows us to choose the positive path by revealing the forces that govern our lives and enabling us to manage them. He stresses that the world is at a critical point in its development, a moment where we must choose to shift from negative advancement to positive, with Kabbalah as our guide. Chapter 2. A Hidden Treasure explores the history of concealment and revelations surrounding the wisdom of Kabbalah. Laitman begins with a powerful allegory by Baal HaSulam, comparing the discovery of Kabbalah to finding a hidden treasure in a vast desert. He then explores the reasons behind the secrecy surrounding Kabbalah for centuries, highlighting the stigmas and misconceptions that shrouded the wisdom. The chapter clarifies that Kabbalah is not mysticism, witchcraft, or magic, but a higher science accessible to all. Laitman explains the historical reasons for the concealment of Kabbalah, arguing that the desire to discover the spiritual world had not fully awakened in humanity until now. He reveals that the sages deliberately placed restrictions on its study to protect the wisdom from those not yet ready for it. However, Laitman stresses that the time of concealment is over. The emptiness and longing for meaning experienced by people today signal a new level of development, necessitating the open sharing of Kabbalah with the world. The chapter delves into the intriguing history of the Book of Zohar, from its writing by Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai Rashbi and his group of students 1,800 years ago to its concealment and eventual rediscovery. Laitman recounts the arduous efforts of Baal HaSulam, the greatest Kabbalist of the 20th century, to publish his Sulam Ladder commentary on the Zohar, making the wisdom accessible to a broader audience. He also highlights the resistance and challenges faced by Baal HaSulam in his efforts to disseminate Kabbalah, arguing that this stems from the human ego's natural aversion to self-correction, a central theme in Kabbalah. Chapter 3. Nature and Us introduces the concept of nature or God as a single, vast system that governs all of reality. Laitman explains that we are an integral part of this system, yet we perceive only a fraction of it, called this world. He emphasizes that our limited perception prevents us from sensing the interconnectedness of all things and the underlying force of love and giving that governs the entire system. Laitman compares the interconnectedness of nature to the functioning of a human body, where cells work together in harmony for the benefit of the whole organism. He highlights that the same principle applies to all levels of creation, with the exception of human society. Humans, unlike other creatures, have been given free choice, which allows us to either participate in the overall harmony of nature or to disrupt it. He stresses that our egoistic nature, driven by a desire to receive for ourselves alone, currently prevents us from acting for the benefit of the whole. The chapter then introduces the concept of equivalence of form, a key principle in Kabbalah that explains how we can come to perceive the upper force. Laitman argues that by developing within ourselves the quality of giving, we can become similar to the Creator and thus perceive the hidden reality. He uses the analogy of a growing child learning from examples to illustrate the process of spiritual development. The Book of Zohar, he explains, provides examples of the quality of giving that help us develop this new nature within ourselves. He concludes by stating that the purpose of our existence is to rise above the boundaries of this world and experience the entirety of nature, the upper force, by achieving this equivalence of form. Chapter 4. A ladder to the Zohar delves deeper into the unique qualities of the Book of Zohar and the challenges involved in accessing its wisdom. Laitman begins by recounting the story of the book's creation, highlighting the 13 years of preparation undertaken by Rashbi and his son in a cave in Peki'in, followed by the gathering of 10 Kabbalists to complete the work. He emphasizes the special gift of Rabbi Abba, who possessed the ability to write in a way that both revealed and concealed the wisdom, a crucial aspect of the book's nature. Laitman then traces the history of the Zohar manuscript, from its initial concealment to its rediscovery and eventual publication. He clarifies the misconception that Rabbi Moshe de Leon, who inherited the manuscript, was the actual author, emphasizing the consensus among Kabbalists that the Zohar was indeed written by Rashbi and his group. Laitman explains that the Zohar was written for our generation, the end of days, a time when humanity is ripe to unlock its secrets and achieve the same spiritual wholeness as its authors. The chapter then introduces Baal Hasulam's Sulam commentary as an indispensable tool for understanding the Zohar. Laitman explains that Baal Hasulam, having attained all 125 degrees of spiritual attainment, could accurately interpret the Zohar's complex language and allegories, adapting them for contemporary readers. He stresses that the Sulam commentary helps us to perceive the Zohar in a way that evokes internal change, guiding us towards the middle line, the optimal balance between our desire to receive and the Creator's desire to give. Laitman concludes the chapter by discussing the Zohar for All project, an effort by the Mai Baruch Kabbalah Education and Research Institute to make the Zohar even more accessible. He explains the reasoning behind the slight modifications to the text structure and typesetting, emphasizing that these changes are made with utmost care to preserve the essence of the wisdom while making it more approachable for contemporary readers. Chapter 5. The Actual Reality explores the core Kabbalistic concept of perception of reality. Laitman argues that the reality we experience is not an objective external world, but rather a projection of our inner qualities. He uses the analogy of a dream to illustrate this point, stating that we are currently living in an imaginary world oblivious to the true reality that exists beyond our limited perception. Laitman highlights the parallels between Kabbalah and contemporary scientific theories regarding perception, particularly the notion from quantum physics that the observer affects the observed. He explains that both science and Kabbalah agree that the picture of reality is shaped by our senses and our minds. However, Laitman takes this concept a step further, arguing that according to Kabbalah, the world itself has no inherent picture, reality is not out there, but rather a projection of our inner desires. Laitman explains that our perception is shaped by our will to receive a self-centered desire that compels us to see everything in terms of its benefit or harm to ourselves. He argues that this limited perception prevents us from feeling the true, interconnected nature of reality and the underlying force of love and giving that governs the entire system. To expand our reality and experience the Creator, Laitman explains, we must shift from our inner, egoistic will to an outer one, connecting to the desires of others and perceiving reality through a lens of love and giving. He emphasizes that the rule "love thy friend as thyself" is not a moral imperative, but a practical method for expanding our perception. By connecting to the desires of others, we can break free from the limitations of our individual ego and experience the true, interconnected nature of reality. He concludes the chapter by stating that the Book of Zohar, by providing us with the power to realize the law of love thy friend as thyself, guides us towards perceiving the real world, a world where life is not limited by the confines of our physical bodies but continues eternally within a higher, collective will. Chapter 6. As One Man in One Heart focuses on the crucial role of the group in spiritual development. Laitman explains that the awakening of the point in the heart, the desire to connect with the Creator, naturally draws individuals towards one another, forming groups. These groups, he argues, provide the necessary environment for true bonding with others based on love and giving, replacing our default state of separation and hatred. Laitman emphasizes that group work is essential for achieving the revelation of the Creator because it allows us to measure our true relationships with others and prevents us from falsely believing that we have achieved individual connection with the Creator. He stresses that the Creator, the force of love and giving, is experienced within the corrected connections between souls, not in isolation. Laitman provides numerous historical examples of Kabbalistic groups, highlighting the importance of unity and love in their approach to spiritual development. He explains that by transforming their relationships into a bond of mutual love, these groups created the conditions for sensing the actual reality, leaving behind a body of knowledge that guides us towards this new life. Laitman then introduces the work of the Rabash, Baal Hasulam's son, who developed a detailed method for bonding within a group, providing instructions for navigating the various stages and challenges that arise in this process. He emphasizes that the Rabash's writings offer a practical guide for overcoming our innate self-love and achieving equivalence of form with the Creator. The chapter concludes by discussing the global network of Kabbalah students that has emerged in our generation, facilitated by technology and the Internet. Laitman stresses that physical distance is no longer a barrier to spiritual connection, and that this global group is paving the way for the correction of humanity as a whole. He reinforces the ultimate purpose of this process to unite all of creation with the upper force, the power of love and giving, and to realize the Creator's intention for humanity. Chapter 7. Being like the Creator addresses the ultimate goal of Kabbalah to become similar to the Creator in qualities. Laitman begins by explaining the evolution of desire in nature, from the inanimate level, where desire is solely for self-preservation, to the vegetative and animate levels, where desires become increasingly complex and involve seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. He argues that human beings, the most developed creatures in the animate degree, have the potential to evolve to a higher level of existence, the speaking degree, characterized by a conscious desire for connection with the Creator. Laitman introduces the concept of intention as a driving force in this evolution. Unlike the lower degrees, where development occurs naturally, the evolution to the speaking degree requires a conscious intention to rise above our egoistic nature and attain similarity with the Creator. This intention, he argues, is what distinguishes human beings from all other creatures. The chapter then highlights the role of the Book of Zohar in facilitating this evolution. The Zohar, written by a group of 10 Kabbalists who attained complete spiritual wholeness, serves as a guide for developing the correct intention and activating the light that reforms within us. This light, Laitman explains, is a spiritual force that gradually transforms our egoistic desires into desires for love and giving, bringing us closer to the Creator. Laitman delves into the concept of the middle line as the path to achieving this transformation. He explains that the middle line represents the optimal balance between the Creator's desire to give and our desire to receive, achieved through a delicate process of aligning our intentions with the Creator's will. He further explains that the middle line is not a static state but a dynamic process, constantly evolving as we grow spiritually. The chapter concludes by emphasizing that the ultimate goal is not simply to receive abundance from the Creator, but to become givers ourselves, experiencing the same joy and fulfillment as the Creator in the act of bestowing. Laitman uses the analogy of a host offering sophisticated pleasures to a guest with simple tastes, illustrating that we must develop our capacity for spiritual pleasure by aligning our desires with those of the Creator. By acquiring the quality of giving, we can access the boundless abundance of the Creator and experience true, eternal fulfillment. Chapter 8. The Rabbi Shimon system explores the spiritual system established by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his group of students, through which the light of correction flows to humanity. Laitman begins by highlighting the unique spiritual stature of Rabbi Shimon, who embodied the collective wisdom of all Kabbalists before him. He explains that the authors of the Zohar, led by Rabbi Shimon, attained an unprecedented level of spiritual wholeness, connecting our world with the upper radiance, the highest level of spiritual light. Laitman emphasizes the unparalleled power of the Book of Zohar, arguing that it is the most potent source of spiritual energy among all holy scriptures. He explains that the Zohar is not merely a book, but a complete spiritual system designed to transform our souls and guide us towards the Creator. Even reading the Zohar without full understanding, Laitman argues, can trigger profound internal changes, as the book's inherent light activates our latent spiritual potential. The chapter then delves into the concept of Rabbi Shimon as a spiritual system rather than just an individual. Laitman explains that the general soul of humanity is composed of many parts, each with a specific function, and that Rabbi Shimon represents a crucial part of this system, responsible for guiding the correction of all souls. He draws a distinction between Moses' Torah, which focused on correcting the people of Israel, and the Zohar, which aims to correct all of humanity. Laitman describes the hierarchical structure of the Rabbi Shimon system, through which the light of correction flows from the highest spiritual realm down to our world. He explains how the souls of previous spiritual leaders, such as Abraham, Moses, and David, contribute to this system, supporting and empowering Rabbi Shimon's role as the guide for global correction. The chapter concludes by emphasizing the importance of clinging to the Rabbi Shimon system in our generation. Laitman argues that the Zohar's increasing popularity today is a sign that humanity is ready to receive its wisdom and embark on the path of global correction. He stresses that by connecting to the Zohar and the spiritual system it represents, we can access the power needed to transform ourselves and the world, ultimately achieving unity with the Creator. Chapter 9. The Upper Worlds provides a detailed map of the spiritual reality described by Kabbalah. Laitman explains that these worlds are not physical locations but rather qualities and levels of spiritual attainment. He emphasizes that the purpose of this map is not to create a theoretical understanding of the cosmos, but to guide our practical efforts to connect with the Creator. Laitman begins by describing the dynamic interplay between the Creator's desire to give and our desire to receive, highlighting the role of mercy and judgment in this process. He explains that both mercy and judgment, although seemingly contradictory, stem from the Creator's benevolent desire to lead us towards spiritual wholeness. Our challenge, he argues, is to learn to perceive both good and bad experiences as stemming from the same source, ultimately uniting them in our hearts and minds to achieve connection with the Creator. Laitman then outlines the structure of the upper worlds, starting with the world of Ein Sof infinity, the source of all creation, and descending through the worlds of Adam Kadmon primordial man, Atzilut emanation, Beria creation, Yetzirah formation, Asiya action, and finally our physical world. He explains that each world represents a distinct level of spiritual development, characterized by a specific combination of desires and qualities. He further elucidates the concept of the Sephirot singular Sephira, the 10 fundamental forces that constitute the structure of each spiritual world. These Sephirot are described as vessels that receive and transmit the Creator's light, each playing a unique role in the process of creation and spiritual evolution. Laitman also introduces the concept of surrounding light, the light of the Creator that surrounds us but cannot yet penetrate our uncorrected desires, and inner light, the light that fills us once we achieve equivalence of form with the Creator. Laitman concludes the chapter by emphasizing the ultimate goal of Kabbalistic practice to achieve devakadhesion with the Creator, becoming like the Creator in qualities. He explains that this is achieved by gradually correcting our desires, transforming them from a desire to receive for ourselves alone to a desire to give and bestow, just like the Creator. This process, he argues, requires constant effort and conscious intention, but the reward is the attainment of boundless spiritual fulfillment and eternal life. Chapter 9, titled A Hidden Treasure, begins by presenting an allegory from Rav Yehuda Ashlag, the renowned Kabbalist known as Baal Hasulam. This allegory illustrates the profound wisdom found within Kabbalistic texts, likening the Book of Zohar specifically to a precious treasure discovered by a group of friends lost and desperate in a vast desert. Just as those friends would find nourishment and comfort in the discovered treasure, so too can we find the answers to life's deepest questions and guidance for navigating the complexities of human existence within the pages of Kabbalistic texts. Baal HaSulam emphasizes the importance of actively engaging with these books, as they hold invaluable insights into navigating both personal and public life, especially during what Kabbalists refer to as the end of days. The chapter then shifts its focus to explain the reasons behind the emergence of Kabbalah in our time. It posits that humanity has reached a critical juncture in its development. The relentless pursuit of material fulfillment, while driving progress, has ultimately led to a pervasive sense of emptiness and a longing for something beyond fleeting satisfaction. This yearning for a deeper meaning, embodied in the point in the heart. A spark of desire for the spiritual is what propels individuals towards Kabbalah, which offers a path to a more meaningful and fulfilling existence. The chapter further emphasizes the urgency of our times by outlining the multifaceted challenges humanity faces. From the breakdown of societal structures and increasing polarization to the looming threat of ecological disasters, our world stands at a precipice. The wisdom of Kabbalah, the chapter argues, is not merely a philosophical pursuit but a vital tool for navigating these turbulent times. It reveals the hidden forces operating behind the scenes of our reality, providing a framework for understanding and managing the complexities of our world. Chapter 10. The Zohar Returns to All takes us on a historical journey, tracing the intriguing story of the Book of Zohar's concealment and subsequent reemergence. It highlights the resistance encountered by Kabbalists in their efforts to disseminate this wisdom, attributing it to the ego's inherent aversion to the concept of self-correction. Kabbalah, unlike many other teachings, requires individuals to confront their egoistic nature and actively work towards transforming it into a vessel of giving and love. The Zohar, it explains, was written specifically for our generation, for the souls now inhabiting the world. It is designed to liberate us from the limitations of our current perception, a perception clouded by egoism, and guide us towards the revelation of the Creator, the force of love and bestowal that permeates reality. The chapter then delves into the efforts of various Kabbalists throughout history who dedicated themselves to spreading this wisdom. From Baal HaSulam, who tirelessly worked to publish and interpret the Zohar through his Sulam commentary, to other prominent figures like the Ari, the Ramchal, and the Baal Shem Tov, these individuals persisted in their mission, despite facing opposition. They understood that humanity's survival, its ability to navigate the complexities of a globalized world, hinges on embracing the principles of love, unity, and mutual responsibility, the core message of Kabbalah. The chapter concludes by emphasizing the global reach and relevance of Kabbalah in today's world. It transcends the boundaries that typically divide humanity: race, religion, nationality, uniting individuals from diverse backgrounds in a shared pursuit of spiritual growth. The emergence of Kabbalah, the chapter suggests, is a testament to the increasing ripeness of humanity, its growing desire to transcend egoistic limitations and achieve a state of global unity, fulfilling the ancient prophecy of a light unto the nations. Chapter 11, the actual reality, plunges us into the heart of Kabbalistic thought, the nature of reality, and how we perceive it. It introduces the concept of a hidden realm of information, the upper nature, or the Creator, a field of pure love and bestowal that permeates everything around us. This realm, the chapter asserts, is not a separate physical location but a higher dimension of existence, accessible through a change in our internal qualities. Kabbalah offers a method for developing new tools of perception, enabling us to access this field and experience the abundance, light, and eternal existence it holds. The chapter then draws a stark comparison between our current perception and a dream-like state. Our senses, driven by our egoistic desires, create an illusion of a world separate from ourselves. We perceive ourselves as independent entities, locked in a struggle for survival and fulfillment. However, this perception, the chapter argues, is merely a limited, distorted view of the true reality. It echoes the discoveries of modern science, such as quantum physics, which increasingly points towards a reality far more interconnected and expansive than what we typically perceive. The chapter emphasizes the need to awaken from this dream to shed our limited, egoistic perception and experience the true reality that surrounds us. To illustrate this concept, the chapter delves into the structure of our desires, explaining how they shape our experience of the world. It reveals a fundamental division within our desires, separating them into internal desires, what we perceive as me, and external desires, what we perceive as the world. This division, a consequence of the shattering of the general soul, is the root of our egoistic perception. It drives us to constantly compare ourselves to others, fueling our desire to exploit and dominate, believing that their lack somehow enhances our own fulfillment. The chapter introduces the concept of Rishimot, specific information bits embedded within our desires that determine our personal development plan. These Rishimot, activated by the light, the force of love and giving emanating from the Creator, orchestrate our life experiences, guiding us through a series of challenges and opportunities designed to ultimately correct the shattered state and reunite us with the general soul. The Book of Zohar, the chapter concludes, is not merely a collection of stories and teachings, but a tool for enacting this transformation. By engaging with the Zohar, we learn to transcend our limited, egoistic perception and reconnect to the true reality, a reality where we are all interconnected parts of a single, unified system. In doing so, we gradually break free from the illusion of separation, awaken to the force of love and bestowal that permeates existence, and experience the eternal life that exists beyond the confines of our physical bodies. Final chapter. A comprehensive review of the teachings. Unlocking the Zohar serves as a compelling invitation into the profound and transformative world of Kabbalah, specifically focusing on the seminal text, the Book of Zohar. This book skillfully guides the reader through the fundamental concepts of this ancient wisdom, revealing its relevance and urgency in our modern world. It is not a mere philosophical treatise but a practical guide, offering a path to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. The book begins by establishing the context for Kabbalah's emergence, highlighting the limitations of a solely material pursuit. It posits that humanity has reached a point where the constant chase for external satisfaction has proven futile, leaving us with a pervasive sense of emptiness and a yearning for something more profound. This yearning, represented by the point in the heart, a spark of desire for the spiritual, is what drives individuals towards Kabbalah, which offers a path to a more meaningful and fulfilling existence. This need for Kabbalah is amplified by the unprecedented challenges facing our world today. From societal breakdown and increasing polarization to the looming threat of ecological disasters, our world teeters on the brink of crisis. Kabbalah provides a unique lens through which to understand these complexities, revealing the hidden forces operating behind the scenes of our reality and offering a way to navigate these turbulent times. Central to Kabbalah is the concept of the Creator, often referred to as the upper force or the upper nature. This Creator is not a deity in the traditional sense, residing in a separate realm, but a force of pure love and bestowal that permeates everything around us. Kabbalah teaches that the purpose of creation is for us to experience this force, to receive the abundance and delight it holds. However, our current perception, clouded by egoism, prevents us from accessing this higher dimension of reality. The Book of Zohar, a mystical text written by a group of Kabbalists led by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, is presented as the key to unlocking this hidden reality. It is a powerful tool for transforming our perception, revealing the true nature of our existence and guiding us towards the revelation of the Creator. The book is filled with allegorical stories and teachings that, when interpreted correctly, provide insights into the structure of our desires, the forces operating on us, and the path to spiritual growth. A critical aspect of engaging with the Zohar is understanding how we perceive reality. Kabbalah teaches that our senses, driven by our egoistic desires, create an illusory perception of a world separate from ourselves. We perceive ourselves as independent entities, struggling for survival and fulfillment in a world of limited resources. However, this perception, Kabbalah asserts, is a distorted view of the true reality. Just as modern science, particularly quantum physics, is revealing the interconnectedness of all things at the most fundamental level, Kabbalah teaches that we are all integral parts of a single, unified system, connected by the force of the Creator. To further illustrate this concept, the book delves into the structure of our desires. It reveals a fundamental division within us, separating our desires into internal desires, which we perceive as me, and external desires, which we perceive as the world. This division, a consequence of the shattering of the general soul, is the root of our egoistic perception. It drives us to constantly compare ourselves to others, fueling our desire to exploit and dominate, believing that their lack somehow enhances our own fulfillment. However, Kabbalah offers a way to mend this shattered state. It introduces the concept of rishamat, specific information bits embedded within our desires that determine our personal development plan. These rishamat, activated by the light, the force of love and giving emanating from the Creator, orchestrate our life experiences. We are guided through a series of challenges and opportunities, pushing us to confront our egoistic tendencies and ultimately transform them into vessels of bestowal, reflecting the Creator's nature. The book emphasizes the importance of the middle line, a state of balance between our innate desire to receive and the altruistic desire to give. This middle line, gradually developed through the study of the Zohar and the work in a group, becomes the reflection of the Creator within us, allowing us to perceive the spiritual world and experience the abundance of the upper force. Kabbalah also offers a unique perspective on concepts like exile and redemption. Exile, in the Kabbalistic sense, refers to our current state of separation from the Creator, our inability to perceive the true reality. Redemption, then, is the process of correcting this separation, of returning to a state of unity with the Creator. It is achieved through a gradual transformation of our desires, shifting our focus from self-gratification to bestowal upon others. The power of connection and unity is further emphasized through the concept of the group. Kabbalah teaches that spiritual growth is greatly accelerated when undertaken in the company of like-minded individuals striving towards the same goal. The group provides a supportive environment for practicing the principles of love, giving, and mutual responsibility, creating a microcosm of the corrected, unified reality we are striving to achieve. The Book of Zohar is not a text to be passively read, but a tool for active engagement. The more we delve into its teachings, the more we activate the light that reforms a force that gradually transforms our desires and opens our eyes to the spiritual world. The book encourages us to approach the Zohar with an open heart, a willingness to let go of our preconceived notions, and a desire to experience the transformative power it holds. In essence, unlocking the Zohar offers a profound message of hope and empowerment. It reveals that we are not merely victims of circumstance, tossed about by the whims of fate, but active participants in a grand plan of creation. We have the power to shape our reality, to transcend our egoistic limitations, and to achieve a state of unity with the Creator, experiencing the abundance and delight of eternal life. The Book of Zohar, the book asserts, is the map for this journey, guiding us step by step towards the realization of our true potential.